Welcome to another episode of the CoolKarnis. This is your host and dost, Sanjeev Kulkarni. Friends, life sometimes does give us a few shocks or jhatkas. And what do you do when you get such jhatkas is what really defines you and your personality. Our guest today, Prasanna Patankar, is one such Kulkarni whose life and perhaps his personality took a turn after a life incident. What is that life incident? What turn did his life take? That is what this episode of the Kulkarnis is all about. Another thing that might strike you in this episode is that age is no barrier to get into fitness or to get into any sport or get into any passion that you have really. The only blockage is here. So hope you'll also be inspired to pursue your passion that you have been procrastinating about. In fact, I feel that you might actually listen to this podcast in a little bit of a rewind and a fast forward mode because there are a lot of points that Prasanna touches upon which might need revisiting because it either interests you or it's very close to your heart. So before we get started, I would like to invite you to please like and comment on this episode and all the other episodes that you've heard. The more I hear from you, the more I learn in terms of what I need to bring to you and what interests you all. I'll also request you to please subscribe to our channel and share it with other friends who you believe could benefit from the journeys of such trailblazers or the CoolKarnis. Without further ado, let's get started. Hello and welcome to all of you to another episode of the CoolKarnis. This is your host and host, Sanjeev Kulkarni. Today we have with us a dear college friend, Prasanna Patankar, who has an exciting journey as a health and fitness guru. That's what I call him. But let's hear from him in terms of how he introduces himself. Welcome, Prasanna. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Sanjeev. And first and foremost, I would want to thank you for providing me an opportunity to share my journey. And I sincerely hope that whoever is listening to this, it will benefit them in some way or the other. So,
I'm
guys, yeah. So I'll just give a brief introduction. My name is Prasanna. Basically, born and brought up in Mumbai, and that's where during the engineering days, I came into contact with Sanjeev. We share a common passion for music and singing, especially. But in those days, I used to be a chain smoker. I used to smoke a lot. I used to drink pretty occasionally. And slowly and steadily, we got into our respective lives. I believe Sanjeev went out of India.
yes.
I pursued my post graduation, went into IT sector, and held some senior positions. Got married in 2002. Have two lovely daughters. One of them, she's 18. She turned 18 this January, and that gave me the feeling for the first time that I've become old.
Bude
So
hoye
I'll be,
hoye.
yeah, yeah. So I will be approaching my 50 in 2 years. But with the only hope that I've been able to transform pretty well in terms of fitness. But by 50, I wish to represent India in the World Championship, and probably with a six pack. Nothing.
Fantastic.
I'll not settle for anything less.
I
So just
think
a background about me. That's all.
absolutely. And that's a wonderful background you have given us, Prasanna. That gives me a very good segue to kind of dissect each of these journeys of yours, obviously. But before we dive into that, you just talked about World Championship and you talked about six pack. So, two questions there. Which World Championships and how many packs do you have right now?
So I've been able to get four packs so far, but still, working pretty hard. See, one is for I'll talk about the point straight away. When I mentioned World Championship, so I am learning kettlebell sport. I am into kettlebell sport along with my wife pretty much full time. It's been close to 5 years that I'm getting trained, under a world champion who's represented India in multiple occasions.
Mhm.
We want to bring that sport to the forefront. Why? Because mainly it's benefited me and Asawari quite a lot.
Mhm.
She's a severe asthma patient. She used to work in the banking industry, again in the senior position. But from a severe asthma patient, to a person, who can just toss around 16 kg kettlebell for 30 minutes and get close to the, I mean, get absolutely very near to 300 repetitions in clean and jerk. And that's her journey, and that inspired me. She has won the online gold medal, Asia Oceania twice during the COVID, because the tournaments were online that time. And last year we had the privilege of sharing the stage, especially since the Asia Oceania Championship was in Mumbai, and we both got silver medals. And I was very proud to have lifted 24 kgs on stage. So it was a moment that, because we never dreamt that we would ever. I mean, I don't remember representing ourselves in kabaddi also during school days. Forget about kettlebell and all. So that's how it is. And the second part, what you asked was about the packs. So believe me, the first four are pretty okay. They come pretty good. I'm doing pretty well when it comes to bodybuilding as such. But when it comes to typically, so I'm lacking in terms of getting my sleep regulated. Probably the reason might be I love coffee. I'm a half South Indian, so I love coffee to the core, hardcore coffee drinker, and I can drink coffee practically anytime.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, it doesn't worry me about, my heart rate goes up or whatever it is, because I condition myself in terms of my workouts. But that's an area where I want to work hard.
Mm.
Uh, as I said, when I turn 50, I want to see my six packs. So it's more of a matter of discipline for me to get the lower two packs. And believe me, they are very tough. They are very tough.
But knowing you, Prasanna, I think 2 more years, you'll probably be around the 8 pack by then.
Oh no, no, six be
Six
good.
is good enough. All right.
Yeah, six will
So
be good.
let's start from the start, Prasanna, if you don't mind. As you rightly introduced and said that you and I know each other, we go back during our college days, which kind of really feels old when you think of that as well. Man, 30 years ago is when we met for the first time. Back then, what we knew as six packs was very different here. So, I
I knew
mean,
six packs.
yeah, we knew six packs even then, but that time the six packs was very different. So going from that six pack, at what time did you start getting a sense? And we'll go back to our college days intermittently, folks. I mean, we that will be a common thread. So you'll see us kind of slipping into our college days. But at what pack? See, I'm saying what pack. At what time, Prasanna, did you actually start feeling fitness? Because I think when we were in college, I barely remember thinking anything around fitness. Right? We were not one of those gym
No,
dudes, who would go bodybuilding, and we probably did not have anyone in our group who thought that way either. Maybe
no,
barring
no.
one or two. So how did that happen for you?
So we never worried about all these things. So typically, it took me pretty long time for me to realize that I need to do something in fitness.
Hmm.
Uh, College days were pretty good. After college, I did my CDAC, got a job in the IT industry. Everything was going on fine, hunky dory. Smoking my 15 cigarettes a day, and I stuck to the brand, one single brand. I don't want to name any brands as such, because that's not what we are talking about. And slowly and steadily got married. First daughter, she was born in, and everything was good. Nothing was wrong. We were doing pretty good in our professional careers, and things started, going haywire when we were planning for our second baby. So one is my wife and I. So we were in the same school, same class since seventh standard. Me and my wife. So the
So,
understanding and
sorry to interrupt you there,
yeah.
but when you said slowly and steady, you literally meant it then. Said slowly and steadily you get married, so you're slowly from the
Yeah,
slow days you are like,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's a good one. But yeah, because we never had any thoughts about marriage as such. But later on, when we got jobs, good jobs, that is where we decided to turn our friendship into a relation. Friendship was already there, but we decided to tie the knot. And 2002 is when we got married. As I said, 2006 was when Twisha was born, and till then everything was good. But as I said, Twisha was she was a very simple, happy-go-lucky kind of a child. And when we decided to take the second chance, that's when the physical problem started. We didn't have any problems in conceiving per se, but during the second chance, Asavari got more responsibilities in her banking life. I was traveling quite a lot, and when we actually took the chance, and when she was detected pregnant, her asthma actually blew up. She started getting asthma attacks pretty frequently. So there was and I was that time I was working on a project based out of Mumbai, and she was in Pune. She was managing the main branch, in the bank which she was working, and I had to rush multiple times, booking a vehicle, and just without informing anybody except my boss that I have to rush because my wife has been admitted to the hospital for nebulization, and she was carrying that time.
Mm.
Good decision that we took was to do the delivery in Mumbai, where the first delivery had happened, because I trusted that doctor blindly. I still thank her that, like a God sent mother, she was there for my wife. But all that, the trigger point was during the 8th month of pregnancy, when she started getting severe asthma attacks, and my young elder daughter that time, she was trying to overgrow herself. She was just 5.5, and she was trying to behave like a 18-year-old girl. Why? And in during one of the times, during the same time, that weekend, if I remember very clearly, her school had, school principal had called me and Asavari to meet them. And Asavari told that, my husband works in Mumbai, and so I'll alone come. But they just said a blunt. Again, I thank my, kids' school a lot, because they don't penalize the students, they penalize the parents. And that's something which is really good, I would say.
Mm.
So we were called. I, made a hasty retreat from Mumbai back to Pune, just for a day. And when we spoke, they were telling us about Twisha being sleeping in the class, because Twisha was always attentive. She was sleeping in the class. Her attention span had completely downgraded, and they were wanting to know that, whether we are facing any issues in the house in terms of a relationship between me and my wife itself. And thankfully there was nothing that sort. But Asavari told that, she is suffering from asthma, severe asthma attacks, and because of her work, etc., she's not able to manage her health. She has to be admitted now and then for the nebulization. Yeah, I have to rush from from back from Mumbai and all that. And that actually got a lot of tears to our eyes, because we told the principal that this was the reason why, she was staying awake. She was trying to make. So we asked Twisha during that. So the principal asked her, "Is this the reason? Are you scared?" Twisha said that, I don't want to lose my mother, and that was a very, very emotional turning point for both of us. I went back to Mumbai, but completely a different person from that time onwards. Tried to reduce my smoking, but the project work was too much. I worked almost 18 hours a day. And during that phase, because of the stress in the house, stress at the work level, because normally I was put on projects which were in red, to replace the earlier project manager and to get those projects out of red. Very, very simple. And that is where I made my first trip to the heart hospital.
Mhm.
I was admitted in emergency, and that time it was enough is enough, because God has been very grateful to us. Probably, I would say, because of our children, we both are still alive. And seeing the hospital, lying on the hospital bed, not knowing the second baby was due that time, everything was tipsy topsy. Thankfully, it was very minor in terms of the medical terms, but I came out pretty stronger, and that was the day I was admitted, Sanjeev. That was the day I quit smoking. It was 2nd of May 2011.
Mm.
After that, I have not touched a single cigarette, and I quit directly from 15 to 0. Till date, absolutely none. Absolutely none.
Wow.
That was the first decision I took. We tried to do something in terms of getting into fitness. Tried multiple things like everybody does. Lots of things failed. But at least, I gave up on my bad habits in terms of the alcohol part. Also, I gave up. Later on, I was diagnosed with acid reflux, irritable bowel syndrome. That was a bonus for me because of my old bad habits. I still live with it, but absolutely, I'm an Unitarian. I mean, I travel a lot of countries, roam around with my family. I give them a lot of time today, but I eat the local food there without any botheration. Since 2014, I'm off medications. I don't remember taking any meds. apart from a occasional paracetamol. That is what even my doctor had recommended when we all four of us were down with COVID that time.
Mm,
So my 86-year-old father is my father is 86 right as of now. I remember he also survived the second wave of COVID. Things have been pretty good because during COVID, either of us would have definitely been in a very bad situation, especially her because of her lung capacity and all that. But we just thank God that all these problems came on pretty early in our life. And moreover, we thank God for giving us a fresh set of brains, gray matter and white matter. Rather than clashing, we could take some clear decision. So I look at my daughter's photographs, because of the issues that I had with my digestion and all, I went into depression also. I fought depression for some time.
mm,
But one fine day, we had decided to go to our Kuladev in Guhagar for, let's say we go for a darshan and let's see what happens. So I agreed. And on that beach, when I click the photograph of my daughters, a fact dawned upon both of us, and we did sleep the whole night in that time.
mm,
We were discussing that we have brought them into this world. So we do not have any sort of right to put them under any uncertainty that, we can't have them suffer the way Twisha suffered during my wife's second pregnancy. So that was a big turning point. And from there onwards, by God's grace, we have never looked back. So
and
that's how it is.
the timing of what you mentioned here, if you've gone to your Kuladev and if you've got this enlightenment
Absolutely.
there, it's definitely a godsend message in a way,
Yes,
right?
it is. I'm seeing, I'm getting goosebumps. You can see here.
Absolutely, I can. And I think it's a very nice point that you're calling out there, like I think this will stick with me as well because you're saying that we got the kids into this world, so it's our responsibility to make sure that we don't leave them in an uncertain world in a way, and that too for our own mistake. If something God sent happens, that's a different issue, but
Very
by
true.
our own mistake, we should not be doing that. Uh, Anna, if you don't mind, I want to dissect this one by one, right? I mean, the first thing that, by the way, friends, if you hear me calling him Anna, that's just because that's how we used to address him during the college days.
Look like one.
He looks like one. He's like the Gora Shetty. If you'll remember,
Yeah,
Rohit
yeah,
Shetty's dad, the famous, well, Anna, villain to nahi hai, I'll not call him a villain, but personality, he's like that Shetty Anna of those days. So we used to love calling Prasanna as Anna, so I'll slip into calling him that way even now. So now what I was saying was you mentioned about Twisha was 5 at that time when all this was happening. I mean, for such a young kid, the fact that she had this realization that she has to take care of her mom and also to some extent get scared, it must have been pretty full on in terms of what you all were experiencing. Uh,
I was totally clueless because I was working out of Mumbai. As
mm,
I said, the project that I was on, it was a very demanding project. I was absolutely clueless. So Sanjeev, I have spent time away from my family in a way that I don't. I had been to my younger daughter's school that time where she was in her first or second standard, if I remember, and I just could not remember which class she was in. So I was absolutely clueless about what was happening home. And when the principal of the school made us realize that, as parents, they were not harsh with us, but they were very practical that, because you just can't allow your kid to be scared or be uncertain about it that way. Probably the trigger point would have been at that point in time itself. But, it had to wait for a place like Guhagar, where things practically took a U-turn.
it was
But I
absolutely
had
demanding.
no clue about what was going on through her mind. Sad, but true. That's how it is. So,
Anna, if you don't mind, I'll go back to the point where you talked about Asavari having asthma, and we'll come to that in a bit in terms of you said that all of you are now cured of these things. But all of us have probably heard of asthma, but in this context, can you help us understand what does it do to you? And you said that work stress can cause more. So is work, stress, all these things kind of interrelated just to asthma or anything in terms of our health? How are these interplayed? Or
first and foremost, so she living in Mumbai, she always had allergy to pigeons
Hmm,
because so pigeons are pretty. It's a known fact in nowadays that if there are a lot of pigeons around you, you need to have your lung capacity getting regularly checked. She had asthma since school, if I remember. I probably think around 8th standard or so is when I understood that she has breathing problems.
Mm.
I did not know about the word asthma or anything. But later on, when after we got married, till marriage, everything was fine. She was taking her pumps and etc., the inhalers and all that. But after marriage, whenever I used to come or whenever I used to smoke in front of her, uh, again it was not by intention. It used to just happen. My friends visited or cousins used to visit and all, and we used to go to the terrace and take a smoke. Front of her, matlab not in front of her directly because utna ijjat I had to give. But when I used to come down because of the that smell, the
Stays on.
whiff, she used to so what she used to do is she used to just grab hold of her area like the throat like this. She used to wheeze. She had a lot of trouble taking in the air, and then she used to take the puff. She used to sit down for around 2 to 3 minutes, and then she used to cool down. This was something which I was getting used to. Then one day, my mom suddenly, she had the balan which we use for making chapatis, and she just threatened me that if you smoke and come in front of her, I'm going to kill you with this. And
You-
from that day
Your
onwards,
mom,
yeah,
your mom said this.
my
Okay.
mom,
So then
my
two
mom
things.
was her best friend. So
Exactly. So two things come out here. First is that your mom knew that you smoke, and
yeah,
second, chakkar tavi se chalu hai, which your mom knew about it.
yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I never, so good part is I never hid anything from my parents. In fact, me and my father used to smoke together.
Hmm.
We had the same brand, obviously, but father was very courteous because when he knew about Asawari's asthma problems, and he was the first person to shout at me and told me that absolutely no cigarettes in the house or anywhere around the house.
Hmm.
If you want to have a smoke, you have a smoke outside, but after you come home, we should not know that you have smoked.
Hmm.
He used to take care of these things, but it took me my mother's
Velan.
yeah, Balin to get back on track. But that
Hmm.
yeah, the problem is at that point in time because everything is hunky dory, you have a good job, salary is good, everything is fine, work stress is there, but manageable, and you don't have the need to give up the smoking part or whatever it is. So again, I go to God. He was very he or she, whatever. I have not seen God, but whatever has happened with me is something because of God, because they made me realize that wake up. This is probably the last chance that I am giving you. It was more like a tight slap. So multiple things came into this in terms of me giving up smoking. I firmly believe I'm a spiritual person. I firmly believe that I'm born for giving something back to the society, and that's what I'm doing right now as a profession.
And that's what we'll come back to. This is really getting interesting, but let me probably divert this a bit, and then we'll come back to this again. Um, Anam, firstly, you said that you used to smoke with your dad. So, I mean, definitely, yeah. I mean, I should say uncle is pretty cool in that sense.
Oh,
Uh,
he is.
but let me ask you this: What I mean, all of us have 90s kids. Like we kind of have our own journeys, and I would assume that all of us have gone through similar journeys. But what is it that attracted you towards smoking? Was it more of what you saw at home, or there was something else happening?
There was absolutely no reason. I mean, I started smoking with one of our school friends. Me, Asavari, and there's a guy called Ketan. I can take the name. There are a hell lot of Ketans in the world, but we were
Anaketan,
in the same class. Huh?
Anaketan.
Apna Ketan. So I saw Ketan smoking one day, and I said, give it to me. I just want to try."
Hmm.
So I tried it, and I got the kick of my life. I said, "Wow, this is good." That's how it is. I did not smoke for stress or any kind of things. I mean, smoking was something I liked it. That's why I did.
Yeah.
So, matlab, there is some office ka problem and all, and then I go for smoke. Aisa, it was not that case. I just like smoking. Mera smoking ka times were also pretty fixed.
Hmm.
So, and after marriage, they were more stricter. That
Absolutely. So,
घर में आने से 2 hours before was used to be my last smoke.
so viewers, I just want to call out: we are by no means promoting smoking, or the intent
No,
of
no,
talking
no, no,
about
no,
smoking here is
absolutely
not
not.
to say that you got to smoke, but I'm coming from a perspective of how, at a young age, we all get attracted or addicted, if I could use that term. But at some point, the realization strikes to hopefully most of us, but in many of our cases, it might not happen either. So this is
Right.
more as an awakening for that, that there can be repercussions if you are if you are on that journey. So please correct yourself as quickly as possible. Uh, so then again, continuing on this, Anna. So we've of course talked about your journey in quite a bit of a summarized but a quick fashion. But I want to kind of take this one by one, right? So you talked about what happened at Guhagar, but cut to from there, what you all did in 2015 is again something very, very. I mean, there must have been a significant trigger where both of you decide that both of you want to quit a well paying job, but more than paying, I would say a well settled and respected job. And both of you decide that you want to quit that and get into a new journey. Can you enlighten a bit more on both how you all reached that point and what was going through your minds when you said that both of us are going to do that? It's understandable if one quits and the other stays, but here, both of you.
See, what happened was, 2014, 3rd of January, is when we started our fitness program.
Hmm?
That was a program that we liked. Again, I am not promoting any program or anything as such. We liked that because it involved home cooked food. I mean, typically the food that I love to eat and all that. It did involve nutrition supplementation, but I consulted my doctor because of my IBS and GERD that whether I should go for it or not. Asavari, again, she consulted her chest specialist in terms of her asthma issues. So we started our journey, and what we understood is that we were also getting a liking, we were developing a liking for the whole fraternity as such. The person who was helping us in terms of recovering our health, getting more into fitness, Asavari, that time I remember she ran her first 5K, and I was shit scared in so forgive me for using this word, but I was very scared in because I was working in Mumbai again that time. uh, but my wife doing 5K was more of an eye opener,
You're talking
and
about
she
K run.
was 5K run. An asthma patient running 5K was something big for both of us. Uh, so what triggered was, the person who was helping us in terms of, guiding us to improve our lifestyle. We liked that concept. Second is because of us. So to give you the exact figure, my wife lost a total of 34 kgs of weight in 9 months of time. 9 months, actually, I got a brand new wife. I can say that, yeah. And my total waistline came down from 39 inches, and today I'm at 31 inches waistline. So I can sit down, play tabla, my cramping issues and all, they were all gone. But what we realized is that there were a lot of people around us who were watching us and who were getting inspired.
Hmm.
That, if this nutcase can give up smoking for good and, do whatever he's doing right now. And lot of, see, my friends and all, they got more activated because I ran my half marathon.
Hmm.
I mean, Prasanna Patankar running was something sapne mein bhi nahi kar sakta. That was the kind of thing. At least my people who live around me, they used to think that way.
The
So
only running
all
we
in
did
all,
was
what we
behind.
realized,
The only running we did was behind the ST buses at that time.
yeah. I didn't do that also. I used to always wait for the other ST bus to come, or I take a auto and go straight away. But all these things, what we realized is that suddenly it put us into a responsible position.
Hmm.
See, when we were doing bad things, I mean, when we were having a bad lifestyle, nobody was bothered. We were having good friends. They are still good friends with us. Absolutely no issues on that. But nobody was bothered to
Correct.
bothered. It's not in a wrong way. It's business. It was business as usual for everybody. हाँ ये heart problem happens with everybody. ठीक है, you just visited the heart hospital and don't worry, it's okay. And it was more that way. But when we started inspiring a lot of people, that, slowly and steadily, that we had people who started saying that we would love to, achieve what kind of achievements, at least reach closer to where you are. Because at what today's age, I'm preparing for the Asia Oceania Championship. Luckily, it's going to be here in Pune itself in Balewadi on 8th and 9th of November. And people are inspired that we would also want to come and visit and come and see and all that. But during that time in 2014 is, when we had a lot of people asking us, we understood that we can take this up as a part-time profession. And that's where we got introduced to the concept called as network marketing.
Mm,
Initially, my understanding about network marketing was it was more like a pyramid scheme or something. But when I read the books, when I went through the whole concept, the person who was guiding us was very open. I mean, we have a very open fraternity when it comes to the whole principles.
mm,
I like the idea. We had some resistance from the family itself that, why are you wanting to get into this? Why don't you do it part time? You're already getting good payment. Your promotions are happening. All these things. But we the only trigger point again was the photograph of my daughters. When we talked about the uncertainty part due to our health, we were, into a rat race in terms of getting promoted, getting higher salaries and all. But again, the same problem remained that we were not able to give each other time as a husband and wife. We were not able to give our daughters time. So when I told you about the incident of Tanisha, I had to go to a school, and so I was fit that time. I mean, I was doing pretty good, but I could not remember what class she was in. So these things actually, so now I laugh it off, but that time it was pretty embarrassing. I mean, as a father, I cannot be this callous. And thoda sa in our fraternity, we have that. So you have two daughters, and if you don't watch them grow, and if they are detached from parents and all, aage jaake what will happen, God knows, and all that.
correct.
So that factor was there. But this network marketing opportunity actually provided us, in the true sense, freedom of time.
Mm,
See, Sanjeev, calm everybody has to do. We work. But the
absolutely.
good part is that our work time starts at 6 in the morning, and we end our work at 11 in the morning. 6
Mm,
to 11 is when we work. After that, it is all skill upgrade. We learn different things. I am learning sports nutrition because I am pretty much into sports in terms of kettlebells.
mm,
Asavar is already, achieved a certification for general nutrition. We are getting to learn new things. Kettlebell is an area where I have started taking personal training since last 1.5 years, and two of my candidates, they also won the bronze medal last year in the Asia Oceania Championship. One of them is a PhD doctor in microbiology. She's 50, and what a way to celebrate her 50th birthday last year.
absolutely.
So we had that realization. What I'm talking today is all about the results of that decision that we took.
Mm,
It was a hard decision, 100% yes. Was it a decision where, kafan ban ke you took take? No, 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 it was not. It was a calculated decision, because when we decided to quit our corporate life, we had the biggest loan on our heads, that is the home loan.
mm,
And when we took this break from the corporate at the age of 37.
mm.
uh, we were completely loan free at the age of 41. And today my wife is 48. I will be 48. That's how it is. That's where it stands.
So just to clarify this, so you're saying that when you retired, if I could use the term retired, it's
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
from a so-called working career, right? You all were 37. You had a home loan on you. By the time of 41, you have become loan free. This
Yep.
typically does not happen even in a decent working career. So that means, from a commercial perspective as well, this has been pretty rewarding for you.
It has been very rewarding. The whole, see, what I like about this current profession, Sanjeev, is that one is we are dealing in fitness, we are dealing in health, we are dealing in overall nutrition correction, lifestyle correction,
Right.
and you'll never catch me, or you'll never see me rather, doing all the bad things that I used to do earlier.
Hmm.
So that sense of responsibility is there. So if I have to give you gyan about health and fitness and etc., um, I cannot have any loose ends in terms of, so I
Correct.
have to be fit. I have to lead by example. So I run a fitness center in Pune. We have close to a footfall of 80 to almost 80 to 85 people every single day.
Hmm.
Plus, we have a separate online community where we have almost 72 people who are there.
Hmm.
Uh, they can't see me and Asavari completely, we don't have any lapses in our career. What I like is that in this profession, we have to stay fit ourselves in order to earn money.
Absolutely. You have to lead by example, 100%.
Whereas what we have experienced in, so she's experienced in her banking career, me in my IT career. So my mentality was completely different. I never cared about the people whom I am reporting to or whatever. I love my work.
Mm,
So, that stress and all was never there with me. But putting in long hours, became a habit.
mm,
And that is what was detrimental to my health during that time. That was my realization. So I had nobody to blame except me as far as my health was concerned. Because मैं stress कभी काम का मतलब काम देने वाले का या किसी का I never took any stress. But all in all, what we realize is that we have to be able to manage stress. We have to be able, so workout, when we say workout actually is the best antidepressant, is what we realized.
mm,
So many people who come to us in terms of having some stress related problems, lifestyle problems, and all, we immediately put them on a correction path. And workout actually kills a lot of thoda sa mental kachra, I would call. Workout is good
Talk to us
enough.
a bit more about that. And I mean, these days, I think one of the biggest thing that is catching up in surprisingly in kids also, but obviously in us or adults of our age group is the mental health, right? People talk about
Yeah.
depression, and you also talked about depression to a certain extent. What have you uncovered? I mean, if you feel comfortable, do talk about what you went through. But more importantly, in your journey now, what have you uncovered about how these are intertwined? Like
Mention the word depression. So one thing is that the reason can be anything. I mean, in my case, the persistent problems I used to face in terms of, so whatever favorite food also I used to eat, either I used to go to the loo, or I used to get acid refluxes. So when we are speaking for quite some time right now, I would have probably had two or three times where the acids would have actually come. I had to excuse myself, go to the bathroom and come back and again speak. It was that bad.
mm,
And it was more of the state of mind at that point in time, that, why did God bring me onto this planet, to suffer like this? So first we had that bout of the second delivery issues, which I mentioned earlier, and then this digestive problems. Back of my mind, I knew again, it was due to my smoking habits, drinking habits, and fine. I mean, not sleeping well, all these things. But somewhere I became very irritated, agitated. I started shouting at everybody. Typically, gussa normally you remove it on your kids only.
closest
I
ones.
started doing all these bad things. Then I completely went into a shell. I mean, you have seen me from college days. I am a complete badbada kind of a person. I love to speak. But seeing such a person, my wife knows me from school days.
Mm,
So such a person completely into a shell. So whenever I used to get a feeling, chest pain, I used to get scared. I used to keep quiet, and the entire day I used to lie down on the bed and remain quiet.
mm.
And
Yes.
that
What are you
was
scared of?
I nothing. My mind was completely empty at that time. I was not thinking whether I'm going to live or not. No thoughts, absolutely. But I used to just lie down. Probably I used to start praying, and pray karte karte. I don't know where I used to go, as far as the mind part is concerned. So I used to be lost in a trance sort of a thing. And I slowly, that trip to Guhagar, when I mentioned, slowly I had that realization that, see, one thing which I clearly could understand through whatever mental state I was going through is that my family is not responsible for this kind of situation that I'm going through. Then why do I put them under a lot of pain? Why should I cause them pain because of my, behavior overall? So, thoda sa that thing was there at the back of my mind. One fine day, what I did was, so I was doing a course with my family doctor, but one thing which I did was, I did not like to see myself like this. I just woke up in the morning. I had my morning green tea, and after that, thoda sa I started getting a little bit, the chest pain types, hyperacidity basically. I just went down. I live on the fifth floor. Went down by lift and came running by stairs.
Mm,
Nobody should do this. Okay, please, a disclaimer: nobody should do this. I came back by stairs, and when I came, heart rate was up. I was, panting, and I realized that I'm not dead. It's fine. Second day, I repeated. Third day, I did that twice in a day.
Mm.
except that I got a mild cramp in my leg. I was absolutely okay.
Mm.
And that's how I broke that
Yeah.
key. So what I have been through, and I'm not again comparing myself with people who are actually fighting depression and all. Probably what I experienced was minuscule. It was something very minor. Uh, I feel that you need to have the right set of community around you for to be able to come out of that. थोड़ा सा sense of responsibility, if पहले से it is there,
Mm.
that I'm always been a family man. So whatever I do or whatever I've been doing, it's all for my daughters, my wife, and same thing. They also do a lot of things for me. They make me some surprise dinners and all that. Both my daughters rather. But I feel that the community is pretty much helpful. It is needed. During COVID also, we have highlighted that we have recorded one video and shared it on our YouTube channel that, during COVID, medicines se zyada, the community, the thing that, hey, don't worry, I'm there for you. These
Positivity and
small
the
things,
assurance.
they help a lot. So this was probably what got me out of the depression bout. And again, I repeat, please don't try anything physical, anything silly, depending on the degree of depression you are in. But the moment you are, one thing which I would want to share here, the moment you feel that whatever you are as a normal person,
Mm.
and probably it's been 4 5 days that you are not a normal person the way you are, it's time to do a self-evaluation. Better to have that clarity. If required, you need to go to a psychiatrist. You should go to a psychiatrist. खुद के ऊपर कुछ मत लो. It's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth
Get help, absolutely. And the first thing is, I think in some shape or form, hopefully things started changing with our generation. But until then, there was nothing called as mental health. Kya,
it. No, no.
baki
We were very
people
casual
around
that
you
time.
yeah, people around you are good. Something is wrong with you, kind of thing would be there.
अरे संजीव, we never experienced peer pressure also. I mean, just like Three Idiots thing also, ना किसी और को if they get good marks and all, good for you, man. I am happy with whatever I got.
Correct,
So,
correct. All right. I still want to continue the conversation, but let me lighten this up a little bit,
yep,
then bring it back to continuing our conversation. So Mumbaikar, both of you are out and out Mumbaikars, right?
yep, hardcore.
And then you work takes you all to Pune and you all are settled in Pune. So I have to ask you, Mumbaikar ki Punekar?
Mumbaikar.
Mumbaikar. Okay.
Hardcore, always for life. Still,
Hardcore.
Ganpati and all, I go to Mumbai only. Ganpati, I got to go to Mumbai only. I mean, I've got nothing against Punekars as such. So I'll share a small incident here. I got a job with TCS that time,
Hmm.
and I had to shift to Pune. So I went to the US. Me and my wife both. We came back, and Pune mein we got a house. We bought our own house, and my wife needed. So she also got a transfer from her bank, and क्या हुआ that time we got our first car that was a Maruti ST में.
Okay.
And so we had some function and on the backside of our society. So there was a narrow road and we had to, my wife was I never drew in India.
Hmm.
Never. No driving in India.
Okay.
But and just to let you know, me and my daughter, we just got our permanent licenses just yesterday. Just yesterday.
Both of you
Four-wheeler as
together.
well. I got inspired by her to go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll come to that. But so she was driving, and a two-wheeler wala entered from the wrong side, and he couldn't pass our vehicle because, as I said, the road was narrow, and there was some marriage party was some going on.
Huh.
What he did was, अपना OVRM or rear view mirror है,
Huh.
he just closed it, drove ahead,
Huh.
stopped his vehicle, came back, opened it, said thank you, and went. That was our first experience here. क्या बोलेगा? What will you call that?
Total
So,
Punekar attitude. Uh,
so vehicle was a must that time. Now at least the infrastructure is really good with the metro and everything. But
correct.
that time vehicle was a must. I mean, without vehicle, you are like stranded on a deserted island. Mumbai, we never experienced all these things. Mumbai, mein auto, taxi, anything and everything was there. BEST bus. But
Yeah.
यहाँ पे was no. So that was our first experience initially.
Yeah, with Pune. Okay, fantastic. So for those of you who understand the Punekar and the Mumbaikar kind of mentality, I think you all might appreciate this. But for the others, I'm sure we have some Pune friends as well. No disrespect, but
No, no disrespect, absolutely.
yeah, but
Because culture. culture is something that I learned in Pune only. The
Yes,
culture is different. If I do the life comparison, I mean, I could have started my fitness club in Mumbai also.
correct,
Financial, I mean, financial viable. It was viable for me to start a fitness club in Andheri, where my in-laws also live.
correct.
But in Pune, people have the time. People are comparatively laid back. Mumbai, mein everything you need like this.
Ah, they do,
Because
yeah,
travel times and all everything. I mean, we have to respect that.
correct.
So I feel personally today there cannot be a comparison. I mean,
But
every city has its own charm.
has its own. But to that point, that's interesting that you mentioned. I mean, I'm saying this on a lighter note, but as the famous Puneri parties go, right, where you say that party, by the way, I mean a slate or a not party. But as a Puneri party go, your business typically is down from 11 o'clock or 12 onwards for a good 2 to 3 hours or something like that, right? So looks like you're in the same category now. 12 baje you close
No,
and
no, no. So 12 baje we close. We close the club at around 11
uh,
because 11 ke baad, as I said, we utilize our time. So we also have an online community. So probably some follow-up calls are there. Sundays is for family generally. Saturdays we have the fitness studio closed at around 11. 11 to 1 is when we do the general follow-ups for the online community,
mm,
unless there is people want to have our time in terms of walking them through a new meal plan, because now we are launching a Navratri challenge.
mm,
So for that purpose, we have around 26 people who have signed up for this thing. So we'll be having a separate Zoom call with all of them, and so on and so forth. All these are scheduled in our calendars. So we normally don't have it. So even for example, when you connected me with me for this, the dates were already finalized almost a month ago.
correct.
So because it is there in the schedule, I can take this call from anywhere. I'm taking it from home right now, but if let's say I was out of Pune or maybe out of India, I would have still made this call.
Correct.
So technology does help in all this. Majority of our things get solved uh, via Zoom or WhatsApp calling, I would say.
So I want to move to Kettlebell, but before I go there, and I want to ask you if you want to tell our listeners and our dear friends anything about Evolve Fit and what you do and how people can be involved in that journey with you.
So, Evolve Fit Circle is the full name, I would say, without any spaces. Essentially, it's a brainchild of me and Asavari. The name also came through a session that we were listening on Bhagavad Gita. Evolution, continuous improvement, and all these things we were going through. The trainer was excellent, no doubt about that. And that's where the name Evolve came into picture. So that is where we started. So what essentially we do is we help people in multiple aspects. So we have people who come for fitness improvement. We have people who come for weight loss, people who come for weight gain. We have people who come for overall fat loss, muscle gain. We have people who come for improving their digestive health, people coming for joint health, and so on and so forth. What we try to do is that number one is we don't try to play doctors. So wherever the doctors are taking care of them in terms of certain ailments that they are going through, we do not disturb that. Whatever we give, whatever we recommend is 100% safe, and most reliance of our programs is on home cooked food.
Mm,
And occasional cheating is also allowed in that, because I don't want any person to not cheat for 3 months, and then when they have their pani puri after 3 months of program, their stomach doesn't agree with them. We don't want that to happen. Typically, business as usual should be there. As I said, we involve nutrition supplementation as and where required. We do recommend protein shakes to people who are into hardcore strengthening. As I said, I train people on kettlebells exclusively, and they are having a completely different schedule. The sleep schedules and all these things completely separate. They
mm,
are more into the antioxidants, the vitamins, and the minerals. The requirement for them is much higher than
mm,
the normal person would require. So accordingly, we quantify that nutrition part for them. Proteins come from the shakes as well as it comes from the home cooked food also.
mm.
Uh, we have different choices based on vegetarian or non-vegetarian, but we generally say no to people who come to us with I would say off the track wala target. So,
Mm.
sir, I have my wedding in December, and by December I have to lose 20 kgs. Sorry. We because what so in our program, when a person starts losing weight, the hunger also goes up. That means fat loss is happening and muscle gain is happening. What
Mm.
if I tell that girl that you will not lose a single kilogram, but your shape will be much better? Is it acceptable to you? So it gets into a lot of discussions.
Correct.
We don't normally go that way. We want people to go through the process, trust the process,
Mm.
and enjoy the process. That's it. And
Correct.
feel the result week by week, whatever they experience in terms of the stamina, in terms of the light feeling, and all that. That's what Evolve Fit Circle is all about. That's it. That's it. There's nothing beyond this.
And
And
there's
we don't want people, sorry, we don't want people to come back to us for the same reason. So we educate them quite a bit in terms of their journeys. We have sessions. So, for example, sessions are there. I mean, you will also be putting this recording somewhere, and those who want to listen, they'll listen. Those who don't want, they'll not listen. We
absolutely.
have
And if
control on
it's
that.
okay with you, I'll surely share links of your YouTube videos and YouTube channel there so that people can listen to.
So we normally do, so it's like this, no, Sanjeev, that why should I force you for your own fitness?
And that's the point I want to ask you, Prasanna, because you've said this a couple of times now, and it's easy to understand weight loss. That's probably where most of us are in our journey. But then, how if I go dump it down to one more level, how do you define fitness? What is meaning of fitness? I'm assuming it is different for different people.
It is different for different people. My father is 86. Okay. For my father, the day I was born, I am seeing him in the same weight that he was.
Hmm.
So for him, the requirement of proteins, the requirement of antioxidants, he never had any issues apart from diabetes. Diabetes, he got it very late, after his 70s.
Hmm.
So I would call be too much concerned about it because he manages his sugar cycle pretty well. The
Hmm.
timings that he eats, the physical activity. At this age, also Sanjeev, he completes for more than 5,000 steps in a day.
Hmm.
So all in all, what he needs in terms of the nutrition will be completely different than what I need because I do kettlebells. I lift heavy, pretty heavy. Then comparing with somebody like you, who's a regular person, मतलब उठ बोले तो उठना मांगता है, बैठ बोले तो बैठने को आना मांगता है. I mean, without any trouble.
Hmm.
Climb two floors up, absolutely no issues. If you want to go for a basic trek, go ahead. If you play a odd game of cricket over the weekends and you have that habit, you should be able to play that. You
Correct.
should. So typically, no digestive issues, not much apart from an occasional bout of acidity. Uh, the paunch or the stomach is pretty much in line with your overall body structure
Hmm.
because the moment you start putting weight, your hands, the joints also start becoming like this, to accommodate the body shape.
Correct.
That's morbid obesity types.
Hmm.
So I would say in terms of technical points, body mass index between 25 and 26, or rather 24 and 26, but below 26 is pretty good, pretty sustainable, I would say. It and more than the weight, I would lay emphasis on uh, वो weight का how much percentage of fats are you carrying and how much percentage of skeletal muscle are you carrying.
Hmm.
The more the muscle, the more is your the better is your metabolism, I would say, and that's the key word because muscles अगर ज्यादा रहेगा in comparison to the fats, the body is able to metabolize the food pretty well.
And is there
We
a
concept.
proper or a recommended way where we can get this measured? I mean, typically in malls you find
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah,
places where you
yeah.
can measure it. Is that
Typically,
good?
there's a lot of scans. Many of the gyms have pretty much advanced scans.
Hmm.
Some of the figures a layman person cannot read. It's better to show it to a good coach who will be able to understand and translate it in a very simple language to you. So typically, fat loss and muscle gain more than the feel. You'll see the belt buckle travel one more hole extra.
Correct.
Then suddenly you'll have the t-shirt becoming loose, but
Hmm.
at the same time you'll feel solid, you'll feel good, you'll feel lighter on your feet. Climbing two stairs becomes pretty much a very simple and easy task. Very simple thing. 3 weeks ago you lifted 5 kgs of vegetables that your wife purchased, and after 3 weeks you lift it today, you'll see the significant you'll experience that significant difference, and that's where you can truly say that, boss, this is benefiting me.
Correct. And Anna, you had I remember our conversation once where you had explained, the journey of a weight loss in a way, right? You had kind of simplified it to talking in terms of calorie input versus calorie output, how much calorie deficiency is needed for losing weight. Is there some quick bite that you can give our
It's a
listeners?
very, see, it's very simple. Now, uh, I go for a walk, 45-minute walk. Okay, just an example. I go for a 45-minute walk, fantastic, feeling good. And just where my walk ends, there is a place, and this is the truth that I'm telling. There's a place where we get excellent sabudana khichdi. Excellent. Whenever you go, it's garma garam always, and the fragrance is so. So 45 minutes brisk walking for a person of my weight and age, probably I'll burn not more than 240 odd calories, I would say, based on my experience. Because that is the problem with workout. Ki you jitna calorie burn hona chahiye, you don't burn. You burn pretty less compared to that.
Hmm.
And sabudana khichdi, garma garam, you have the peanut ka powder on that, and you enjoy that. So calorie deficit is gone for a toss udhar hi. ठीक है. Now, what happens is where we help our people is that calorie deficit is something which is very easy. You just put a zip on your mouth and don't eat, you'll lose weight.
Hmm.
But you'll lose weight through muscles.
Hmm.
You'll not lose weight through fats.
Hmm.
So, catch 22 situation. So, the best part in terms of continuous improvement, and one very important tip which I would want to give to all our viewers is wear this device. It's a very simple device. You can, it's a step tracker, I would say. You
Hmm.
don't need to go for a complicated device of, having this connected, speaking on this. It looks funny when you see it. But don't go for that. Simple step tracker is good enough. And through the entire day,
Hmm.
not limiting that for to that 45-minute walk through the entire day, you have to be moving. We are not a tree. We have to keep moving all the way. So that is called something called as NEAT. It is non-exercise based activity thermogenesis. So
Hmm.
typically what you are trying to do, so you might have seen many of the old timers, they have their food. Old timers matlab old age people.
Hmm.
खाना खाने के बाद they do some shatapavli. They
Hmm.
go for some basic walk, but that basic walk is good, solid 30 minutes walk.
Hmm.
They don't do brisk walking because they allow the digestion to happen.
Hmm.
We have to be getting into that sort of a momentum
Correct.
because the calorie burning at rest, when I'm resting, it is happening in my body.
Hmm.
My heart is working, it needs calories. My lungs are working, it needs calories. I'm doing these actions, it needs calories. So calorie burning anyways is happening.
Correct.
But over and above, you need to be moving constantly in terms of helping your overall metabolism stay, or rather I would say improve.
Hmm.
So that's one tip, key don't sit at one place for more than 30-35 minutes. Have a buzzer. That buzzer will make you stand, just do some stretches. In when I was in the IT, I never had the peon keep a water bottle in my cabin. They used to keep a jug, pani bhar ke, no? I used to say, ki, please don't keep it. I used to walk, go to the pantry. Based on the buzzer, I used to go to the pantry and have a glass of water and come back.
That's an absolutely good tip because when we
Use
shifted
stairs, sorry. I mean, use stairs instead of using the
the lift,
lift.
yes,
Possible.
yes. So
Very
when
simple, but very effective, I would say.
very effective, absolutely. So, when we moved to a new office space, there was a conversation around where do you want your seat? And I kind of said, give me something that's farthest from the kitchen in a way, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, there is no scent of food coming, which kind of, activates your senses. And secondly, you have that habit where you get, even if you just have to go walk to the kitchen and get water, you probably would have done some 300-400 steps easily there. Uh,
True.
so thank you for that tip. Absolutely.
Yeah, and put a number to the steps that you do normally. So people of our age group, not having too much of physical ailments, and we are pretty good. Minimum we should target somewhere close to between 7 to 10,000 steps in a day.
In a day. And
We
you're
should
talking collectively, right? You're not talking about exercise
collectively.
steps or anything.
As I
That's
said, one shot mark, there is no use.
no
One
use.
shot to 10,000 steps. Yeah, 10,000 steps is pretty close to around 15 kilometers walk. Time ki square. Nobody has that time.
Correct. Correct. Now let's get to kettlebells because, to be very honest with you, perfectly honest, my ignorance maybe Anna, but I had never heard of that until I heard you talk
Even
about.
I didn't hear about it. So,
So how did that world? How did you get exposed to the world of kettlebells? And explain to us what both of you have been doing right now. I mean, it's inspiring to see y'all represent India at a certain level and the kind of work out as champions in that. So Talk to us about this kettlebell journey.
So what happened was, so we have our as a part of the network marketing, there are some training upgrades that we attend. Training. So our trainings all talk about skill development. Our trainings don't talk about any targets.
Hmm.
So we attended one such training, and that is where I got introduced to Parag sir. He took a training about how he had lived his life in Detroit, and from a mechanical engineer how he transformed, how he learned kettlebells over there in the US, and that was our first exposure to kettlebells.
Hmm.
So also in terms of so we got acquainted with him there, and we decided to give it a try. We did his 2 days ka course in terms of understanding the fundamentals about functional training and all. And kettlebells was a part of that as a tool. So we had barbells, dumbbells, and kettlebells also.
When was
Uh,
this?
this was in 2019,
Okay.
2019.
Hmm.
So 2019 is where Sir had created history in Poland. He lifted 24 kgs for 1 hour. That was a full marathon, clean and jerk. And to my knowledge, if I remember the number, he cracked around 609 repetitions in that 1 hour lift. 24
Non-stop.
kg
You cannot
non-stop.
put it down.
It's all non-stop. You cannot put it down. The moment you put it down, you're out.
And 24 kilos in each hand.
No, no, no. Single hand.
Collective. Okay.
He
Okay.
used to do double 24 and double 32s also earlier. But as the so he's been doing kettlebell for 22 years as on date. So as on date, he's completed 22 years in kettlebells.
Hmm.
But we were very happy to get acquainted with him that day. He understood our background. So he was not like any other trainer. Normally, what happens is if you go to any trainer, so they just start you on a program. They have some pro. That was also our experience again. I'm not trying to pinpoint about right or wrong or whatever, but he was different. He tried to understand our background. He also, so the way you have been asking me some pertinent questions, he asked us about those questions about our health and all these things. And he asked me, what reason do you have to, why do you want to try out kettlebells?
Hmm.
The answer was that, we were pretty open and clear in telling him that you are the first trainer who's asking us all these questions in detail.
Hmm.
So we like that and we would want to go with you.
Hmm.
Second is want to do kettlebells for our enjoyment
Hmm.
because I have seen you lift, I have seen your videos. The lifts and all, they look very attractive to the outsider in terms of, and it's like एक पागल आदमी ही पागल आदमी को समझ सकता है types. I gave him this answer. So we want to become pagal like you is the answer. And we started our journey exactly on 26th of December 2019 with him. And
Hmm.
March 2020, just before the lockdown started,
Hmm.
we did our first nationals. I remember lifting 16 kgs for a 10-minute event. And 10-minute event, it is more dangerous because you are allowed to switch your arm only once. That was 16 kg. And then from 16 to today, I do the same event with 24 kg.
For
So
ten
overall,
minutes, so you now do it for longer duration.
longer duration, I do 20 minutes, 20 kg I do for 30 minutes.
Hmm.
That I did twice, and at both at the national level, I got silver. And 24 kg, I limited to short because I have a little bit of lower back problem on my left hand side. Uh, just so nowadays, I'm not worried about it anymore because I have shifted from clean and jerk to snatch. And snatch is something that makes me go wild. I love that. So I'm trying that out this time. So let's see. We have the state championships coming on October 13th. I'll be doing the snatch for the first time there in a competitive place.
And all the very best to you, Anna. But I'm not going to ask you to demo that to us, obviously.
Oh
But
no, no. There are multiple videos of me available on Instagram, and
doing
you
it,
can.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But in a verbal way, if you can just explain what is it that constitutes a kettlebell as a sport. I mean, visually I know what a kettlebell looks like, but if you're calling it a sport, then it's obviously there are a few things you do with it, right?
So there are three main events. I'm talking about the single. There are events with double kettlebells also, but three main events when it comes to single kettlebells. One is called as the OLAC. So it is OALC, which is called as one arm long cycle.
Hmm.
So one arm long cycle has got the 10-minute classic where only one time you can switch the arm. So left hath say if you do clean and jerk, typically clean and jerk. Clean is when you take the kettlebell from down. So this is a pull movement, and jerk is when you take it up. That is a push movement.
Hmm.
and take it down and take it down again up. ये continuous movement जो है, that is called long cycle. So
Okay.
when you do that in 10-minute event, only single switch. तो एक हाथ से 2 मिनट किया, दूसरा 8 8 मिनट you have to do it with the other hand.
Whoa.
You may keep the bell down if you're tired, but when you keep the bell down, it is
Done.
end of the game. Then second is called as snatch. 10-minute classic ka snatch mein again only one switch of arm is allowed. So snatch is completely it's a pull movement. So from down you just take it up
Hmm.
and then from there you bring it down and take it up. So snatch is more of cardio. So snatch utilizes your lower back more, glutes more, whereas the long cycle, the clean and jerk, it's a full body exercise.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
legs का use उसमें काफी रहता है. थर्ड 10 मिनट में इज टू आर्म लॉन्ग साइकिल TALC बोलते हैं उसको. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ वन केटल बेल यू लिफ्ट टू केटल बेल्स, जर्क डाउन एंड अप.
Hmm.
टू आर्म में 10 मिनट का देर इज जर्क ओनली. जर्क ओनली में एक ही बार यू कैन डू द पुल मूवमेंट फ्रॉम ग्राउंड टू द
Okay.
रैक पोजिशन. ये वंस यू डू दिस यू कैन टेक इट डाउन ओनली एट द 10th मिनट. 10 मिनट खत्म होने के बाद यू कैन टेक इट, तब तक यहाँ से अप डाउन
Cha.
again up and down. That is what you have to do. And that is normally clubbed with snatch for biathlon. Then there are marathon events, which are generally 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So 30-minute marathon event is in one arm snatch, OAS बोलते हैं उसको. Take it up. Multiple switching is allowed in 30 minutes.
Hmm.
You can switch after 5 reps. You can switch after 5 minutes, 1 minute, up to you, how you want to pace out.
That doesn't give any negative points or nothing like that. So it's
There
not.
are no negative points. If you put an additional swing, you get a warning.
Hmm.
But if you put so it depends on the judge,
Hmm.
because judging is pretty strict in terms of, because we want to give good athletes. So judging nowadays, I think since the last two events, judging has been become pretty strict. So there's always a briefing given in terms of what are the reps, what are no reps, under what circumstances you will be asked to keep the bell down. So if I'm taking the bell and thoda adjustment ke liye, if I put use the other hand, I'm supposed to keep the bell down. Period.
Wow. It, it,
So by the way, I cleared my exam for the official judge also just early this year in month of February. And March, I did my first national as a competitor as well as a judge.
like you were judging for some and you were competing in the
Yep,
next.
yep.
I rate too much. No, you're on a different
No,
role,
I
man.
did judging because I mean, as sir told me that judging ka there is a complete 3 hours comprehensive classroom training
Hmm.
followed by an exam. I did judging for me to be able to improve on my own reps.
Hmm. So
Selfish attitudes.
exactly. So that way you yourself can learn कि भाई how is a judge looking at.
कैसा है ना,
Hmm.
jokes apart, see if I'm judging you
Hmm.
and my repetitions themselves are technically not that sound,
Hmm.
it's not right morally also for me to be able to sit in that chair and judge somebody.
Correct. Correct.
I might be playing around with that person's career. Abhi kettlebell sport is not that known, but I personally don't like that. That's the reason I did the judging course. It looks good because I could understand a lot of basic things in terms of the lockout positionings and all that. So judging course, I recommend it to a couple of my guys also कि ये अभी nationals होने के बाद, state होने के बाद you do the judging course. It's worth it.
Absolutely. So, Swarna, thank you for explaining this to us because I'm sure all of us would have probably come back learning a bit more about what kettlebells is and gym में under supervision try करना अगर करना है
नहीं
तो
जिम
और
में try, हाँ, you have somebody, don't try it under supervision because kettlebell can see, kettlebell, barbell, dumbbell, whatever you do, if your technique is wrong, you're bound to get injuries. If your technique is right, you will never ever get injuries. So don't worry about that too much. I have not come across any person so far in my whatever career I have had in my fitness area, so to be injured because of weightlifting.
Hmm.
But don't get into ego lifting because as one of the, we have a World Kettlebell Federation ka president who came over during the last Asian, and he told us one very important thing. You stick to one particular bell, 1 kilogram weight ka bell for a longer time, gain mastery on that, and then only move on to the higher weight bells.
Mm.
So I will request the viewers that not to go into ego lifting. This is one problem I see with the youngsters. Some of the youngsters whom I am training also, they want to graduate from 12 kg to 16 kg in quick time. And they don't have the stability when it comes to the joints and all that. So even the nutrition is not correct and they want the moon. Don't get into that situation.
That's a very important point.
Surrender to your coach, surrender to your trainer, and then that's it. That's it.
Have that trust and invest into it, right, in the proper way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. अभी का attitude कैसा है? I'm paying you money, you teach me. No, that doesn't work. That's the reason I say no to quite a few people that I no sorry I can't teach.
Totally. And Anna, I think I completely now can relate to that tagline that you have put. You're saying you're 48 and you're a fit dad.
I
That
am.
that more or less kind of summarizes it for all of us. I just noticed something in your transitions, Anna. So like you talked about 2011, of course, the when some of the things
Turning
happened.
point.
2015 is when you kind of stopped and you started the journey as with Evolve Fit Circle.
Yeah, as a professional.
2019, like almost about 5 years later, this is almost like अपना मोदी जी के गवर्नमेंट के टर्म्स के जैसे लग रहा है ये. Like first phase, second phase. So the second phase you started Kettlebell. Now of course you are in 2024. So I'm tempted to ask you what is happening in this third term, what is in plan for fourth term. So g-
No, one thing is there for sure. So we have latched on to kettlebell as a sport, primarily as I said for our own enjoyment and our own self-assessment. My daughters are into kettlebell sport. My elder daughter is lifting 16 kgs at the age of 18. Younger daughter is lifting 12. They both have won medals at the national level. I would be looking forward to represent India for the first time, hopefully fingers crossed in 2025 in the World Championships. That probably for me will be the icing on cake for both me and Asavari. Having come a long way, it's going to be an emotional moment also. Just by standing on the stage, I really don't know, and to be honest, I don't care how many repetitions we are able to do. But that journey, बोलता है ना उसका logical conclusion of our fitness journey will be representing India at the World Championship on that stage.
wonderful, man.
And again, the next improvement is to win something. Fitness improvement है तो
Absolutely.
kettlebells will be there for long. We are also getting educated in, as I said, I'm getting into sports nutrition also. It's a pretty brilliantly done field, I would say. Nutritional requirements of an athlete. Probably looking forward to help train more people down the line.
Absolutely. And one clarification. So you talked about you had said something about the Asian championship. So what is the term you used for the Asian championship show?
Asia Oceania.
Okay. So you're not representing India there. You're going there as an individual, is it?
No, we represent the country because we have athletes, a bit of athletes from India under our banner. So we are a federation in India,
Hmm.
recognized by the World Kettlebell Sports Federation.
Correct.
And so even though there will be chances where, for example, me and my friend will be competing against each other.
Ah,
Uh, Again, it's dependent on the age category, the weight category, the kettlebell weight that you're lifting, the event that you're doing.
hmm.
And there will be athletes from the Asian countries like Philippines, Indonesia, probably China, if the visas are granted. So we try because this year when we had the World Championships, our trainer Mr. Parag sir, he did a 24 kg snatch and he created a world record by doing 505 reps in 30 minutes. And yeah, that's how it was. That's how it
So
was.
this the world championship that you're referring to is different, is it? That is where only
It is
one person
again,
from a country
so
goes.
even the Asia Oceania as well as the World Championships, it is closely monitored and sponsored, I believe, to some extent by the World Kettlebell Federation. So they
Okay.
own that.
Okay.
So let's say if I am able to achieve some personal best or create some record in the Asia Oceania Championship, it will be a part of the record books that they keep.
Okay.
But if I create a record in the state championship or national championship, it will not be a part of the record book that they keep.
Ah, okay, fair enough. So let me ask you the question this way: if you have to, so like for example, and our best wishes for you and Asawari to get to the world championship, what does it take for you to get to the world championship? अरे वैसा नहीं पूछ रहा यार. What I mean is there like you need to perform well at X level so that you get
Oh,
nominated?
yes, 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 yes. We need to be in the medal winners at the nationals. Nationals normally happen in the month of March
Okay.
in different cities across India. As we said, the sport is being promoted. National ka judging is pretty strict that way,
Hmm.
and we need to be in the medals category for us to qualify for the World Championships.
Absolutely, kudos to you, man. You're definitely the amongst the most inspiring 48-year-old couple that
Just
that
hope
all
to
of us
continue
have
that.
seen.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I'm conscious of time. We are coming to a conclusion, but clearly Asavari has not joined us today. So that means there is a potential that we do a joint interview with both of you when we jointly talk about your couple goals and we talk about how the kettlebell journey is progressing.
100%. And when we do a joint, whenever we do a joint, she will be the person who will be talking more. Because you already got your chance. नहीं
हाँ नहीं वो अच्छा अच्छा भाई उसके वजह से क्या मुझे लगा तेरी
नहीं नहीं
बोतल
no,
बंद
उसकी
हो
वजह से
जाएगी उसके सामने.
जनरली कैसा है I always believe in a lady's perspective because one I mean this is something pretty serious and every male person who is listening to this needs to absorb it. I don't know, a lady is able to multitask,
हम्म,
a gentleman cannot. So a lady has, she's able to keep a tab on each of the, let's say she is doing six projects. A lady can keep a tab on all the six projects, whereas a gentleman will have trouble keeping a tab on two projects also. That is the way I look at it. I mean, I've seen Asavari, because she came into fitness, she turned around the entire house for us.
हम्म,
She could have destroyed the house also, but
yeah,
she built it up in a way that everything is centering, revolving around her. A lady, when she becomes fit, when she starts lifting weights, her positivity, the kind of energy that she gives, the vibes that she gives, they are anyways going to be positive, come whatever situation you are facing. So I would
wonderful.
urge the ladies, who would be hearing this to please, start lifting weights.
Pick up health and pick up fitness in a way because that is what is really going to kind of
You
make your
have the
family
power.
fit.
बोलता है ना शक्ति बोलता है ना लेडी को. You
Correct.
have the power to turn around your entire house.
Absolutely.
Gents
Absolutely.
don't. My
So,
experience.
so already I think we are getting excited to have Asabari on this show and jointly hear from both of you. And for a change, अन्ना की बोलती बंद करेंगे हम लोग.
Oh,
So
100%, 100%.
that will be good to see. So one last question I want to ask you, Anna. And this is probably I'm asking this question to you, but effectively it's going to be a question for it's going to be a response for all of us. If you were to give a message to the younger Anna 25 years ago, what is it that you would tell him?
Throw that cigarette away. Just
That
throw it.
just
That's
throw
it.
it away. Not
Just
worth.
throw it. No, not worth.
Not worth.
As I
Absolutely.
said, God has been very kind. I would have been dead quite some time back. God has been very kind.
Absolutely. And not everyone could get that same kind of kind gesture from the gods. So, if possible, everyone who's listening to this, of course, all of us who are in our 40s or 50s, that age has passed, but you can still throw it right away. But if any of your viewers are in the 20s or in the younger age, please get this message and don't touch it. It doesn't help you.
It doesn't.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anna, thank you so very much for joining us on this podcast, The Cool Karnis. This is a podcast, Anna, where we have been, where it's a motive to talk to trailblazers like you who have gotten an awakening of some sort where they have pursued a passion or pursued a career either in parallel to what they're doing or completely made that switch because they believe in it. And today in this podcast, you have actually told us, walked us through your journey, where you have told us how you have made that journey. And I find this one very special because, as I said again, both of you took that plunge together as true partners, school sweetheart, college sweetheart, working together as partners as well.
True, true, very true. Well, thank
Fantastic.
you so much, Sanjay, for inviting me, and I sincerely hope whatever I've shared is of help to somebody who's listening to this.
It surely will
Cheers.
be.
Cheers.
Thank you, and see you all on the next episode of the Cool Karnis with another trailblazing Cool Karni. Thank you.
Bye bye. God bless.